Quran verses 12:41 and 20:71 describes the rulers of ancient Egypt threatening to crucify people. The former verse is at the time of Joseph and the latter at the time of Moses. However, the ancient Egyptians did not use crucifixion as it is commonly understood as a form of punishment. Quran verse 2071 describes the Pharaoh threatening to cut off people's hands and feet from opposite sides and then crucify them on palm trees. It would be impractical to fasten a victim to stakes after cutting off their hands and feet. Perhaps it is one of those anomalies, such as when a person during Muhammad's time not only survived after having all his limbs amputated, but after having no limbs remaining, he was accused of theft. The man was killed, although Muhammad had ordered him to be killed from the first incident of theft. Confirmation crucifixion did not take place in ancient Egypt. Here, in the Britannica, it says the method was used at the time of the 6th century BC, and one of the earliest records of crucifixion was in 519 BC when Darius I, king of Persia, crucified 3,000 political opponents in Babylon. Similar accounts are found in other encyclopedias such as the New World Encyclopedia. Due to some of these issues, Muslim apologists have extended the meaning of crucifixion to mean impaling and also mutilation. This will be shown shortly. However, the term crucifixion, as explained by Oxford Reference and etymological dictionaries, do not say it is the same as impaling. The term comes from the Latin crux, which means cross, and figere, which means to tie or fasten. Therefore, it literally means to be fastened on a cross. As the apologists have broadened the meaning of crucifixion to include impaling and also mutilation, done so to get around the Quran's intimation of crucifixion during Joseph and Moses' time. They cite such punishments in antiquity, including in ancient Egypt. They also cite the Assyrian ruler Shalmaneser III impaling people or being suspended by stakes as evidence for crucifixion. The Arabic word in question derives from the root word salaba, which translates into English as crucifixion. It is this word that the apologists have stretched the meaning to say that it does not always mean being nailed to a cross, that it could mean impaling and other forms of punishment. They quote from Lisan al-Arab, one of the foremost dictionaries and one that is often referred to by Muslims, which provides a broad etymological origin of the word that the apologists invoke, as shown in the previous slide. However, even in Lisan al-Arab, it connects the word in reference to crucifixion, specifically to the crucifixion of Jesus, and not the general impale or mutilation meaning that is sought by the apologists. The dictionary also explains why crucifixion is called this term in the Arabic and connects it to the Quranic use of the word in 4157 in connection to Jesus, as well as the aforementioned Quran 2071. Finally explaining how the Christian cross is a derivative of the word sulb. Suppose one grants their argument in that the word could also encompass being impaled and other forms of punishment such as mutilation, but grammarians, whether English or Arabic linguists, will explain words come in two forms, and in the Arabic context, firstly, it is called lughatan, meaning its etymological origin, a linguistic historical root meaning, and secondly, istilahan, a phraseological meaning, a word that is deemed the proper meaning which is applied in everyday usage. It is the latter that is employed in order to understand what any word or verse is implying, not the former. But in order to circumvent this problem, the apologists apply the root origins, with the intention of making the meaning broader and thereby fit their argument, whilst neglecting the applied meaning, which is how words are supposed to be used. A well-known book of Arabic grammar called Al-Khasa'is by early Arab grammarian Al-Jinni explains this in his book. The point remains, it is irrational to hold on to the literal, etymological, linguistic origin of a word, as they do for the word crucifixion, to mean any kind of impaling or mutilation, as this is not how language operates. To give an analogy, if someone wanted to play word games with the English language, say for the word nice, which is a positive word today, but when it entered the English language in the 13th century, it was a negative word and was used as an insult because it originally meant foolish or ignorant, coming from the Latin word necius. But no one applies the word today as it was originally intended. Or the word revolt, which had the opposite meaning to how it is understood today. Initially, it meant to roll over, capitulate, give in, concede, or yield. Today, it means the opposite, as it means to rise up, rebel, riot, mutiny, etc. So if words are taken back to a root historical meaning, instead of applying it in a modern-day usage, it becomes difficult to understand what any word really means, or what any sentence is actually saying. Therefore, it stands that the apologists are committing an infinite regress fallacy. Another question that needs to be asked here is, if impale was meant by the Quran and not crucifixion, there does exist another Arabic word for impaling, and that is khawzak. If the Quran had used this word, any ambiguity could have been dispelled. Quran 12:1 says that it is clear, so it could have been clearer and precise and not left it open to misinterpretation. The irony of this verse is, despite claiming it is clear, no Muslims can explain categorically what the first three letters, Alif Lam Ra, stand for or mean. The point remains, in the Arabic language, when the word salib is used, as it comes from the Arabic root letters salaba, it means the cross. Here is an example, as in the Red Cross, Salib al-Ahmar, and the term Salib al-Masihi means the Christian cross. So in conclusion, the Quran claims crucifixion as a method of punishment was practiced by ancient Egyptians during the time of Joseph and Moses. History does not bear this out. In fact, it was many years later where it was carried out by the Persians and then the Romans. Muslim apologists have broadened the meaning of crucifixion to include mutilation and impaling by appealing to word origins, but language is not applied in this manner. The Quran could have been clearer in using more precise words and terminologies. A book that claims to be clear, but the actual evidence is contrary to its claims.